Hey, what's happening, guys? Happy Sunday nights. Welcome to another
Easy for you to say.
episode edition. I don't know. One of those two things, or both of those two things, if you're into epeditions. This is Dirt Diamond Sports Talk, and as always, I'm Ryan here with my man Wally. Wally, what a 4-day grind, my man. Wow.
Yeah, it was it was not pretty. It was not pretty for either teams. Uh, just start off with the fact that the Astros gave up 28 walks. The Angels gave us 22. So, they gave us 4.5 walks a game or 5.5 walks a game, and we couldn't do any better than that. It was a really strange series in that there are things that if you're not careful, you can overthink them.
Read too much
On the
into
other
it.
side, if you see some of these trends continue, there's a lot of room for concern.
Yeah. The 29 men left on base. Start there.
Well, but they left 29 men on base, but they hit 260 with men in scoring position.
And yes, they did. They did.
So
most of that coming in the last two games, where 20 of the 22 runs were scored.
Yeah, that was terrible. That the first two games, you wondered if they even knew if they had a bat, if they knew how to hit. You and I were texting offline thinking, is this really going to be, are we ready for this?
Yeah.
And give them credit that in game 3, they're down 6-0. A team with less character or a team that's just used to losing would throw in the towel and say, this is welcome to our world again.
Yeah.
But they did come back. They scored 8 runs in an inning. All of them were unearned. So that's something I like to see in a team, is that if a team gives you an opportunity, grab them by the throat.
Yep. Absolutely. Take advantage of it.
Right.
For sure. Yep. Let's touch on kind of I don't know, it seemed to be the theme across all 4 games, maybe with the exception of Hunter Brown on opening day, but little bit of pitching command woes. We already brought up the 21 walks over 36 innings. Imai, 4 walks. Christian Javier, 4 walks. Main culprits in a lot of this. These guys are going to have to start gifting, gifting at bats. Especially going into the Red Sox series, where free base runners is going to hurt you with guys that have speed like Jared Durand, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and the Astros played the Angels, who, boy, they may not be the worst team, or they're expected to be the worst team in the league, but they're one of them. They're well deep into the second division. And again, you don't want to get too wound up about not sweeping them or not winning 3 out of 4. Style points, I think, actually do matter at this point, because it can be a precursor of what the rest of the season's going to be. Espada, et cetera, cannot be. Now, they didn't throw the ball around. The fielding was good. They had some clutch hitting. Okay, they made the Angels pay for their mistakes. They're going to have to cut out the walks. Okay, they struck out a little under 28% of the time, which is far too high. For a reference point, in their glory years, they were striking out 20%, a little bit less of the time.
Yep.
It just has to be cleaned up. Thankfully, they came out of this thing with a split. No one in the division is 3-0. So we're all, we're lumped together.
Yeah. Yep. This was a this was a series that I hope you say not a precursor. Was a series where we saw a lot of bullpen usage
Yep.
already, which is not what we want to see, considering some of the names and some of the starters that this team has. We need them to go deeper. Obviously, today, Imai, very short game. A bullpen had to pick this one up. Javier did not go long. I, it's something that, especially with Hader being out, we're going to need to start hopefully getting more length out of the starters. Um, and eh, they're already sending Roa down, and going to have to bring up a quote unquote fresh arm because they're just gonna have to start using the bullpen a lot more if these guys aren't going deeper into the games.
Well, and granted, it's early, and these guys are not going to be as stretched out and uh,
Yeah.
go as long as they normally would. But in the first game, Hunter Brown's our number one. The first game is why I have a tough time sometimes calling Hunter Brown a true ace. We see too many times where he doesn't go deep, runs up high pitch counts, doesn't give up any runs. So that's a big bottom line. But you wish you could get 7 innings out of him. He went 4 and
Yeah.
2/3, 4 hits, 3 in the first inning, wiggled off the hook, 102 pitches, 59 strikes. So you've got a whip of 171. Little under 58% of those were strikes, and pitches per inning at just under 22. So
Hmm.
that's just a microcosm of what puts pressure on the bullpen. We've seen not just the Astros, but so many teams that you can live trusting your bullpen early in the season, but it catches up to you.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing I think that we are going to have to hope that they are able to figure out. Obviously, the walks. We got to keep the walks, down, and quit putting guys on base. That's kind of what got to Hunter. Um, what if Burrows only walked two, but he gave up
And
some.
Burrows got
Big,
burned by
you
by
know,
a Lance Berkman special to the Crawford boxes.
he did. But one thing that I have to say that gave me a positive feeling on Burrows is he was aggressive. He
Yeah.
paid for it, but he was aggressive. Fastballs, both to Trout and low, and they both, went out. So I that was a positive attribute to Burrow's outing for me, was
Hmm.
that I saw him attacking the zone, being aggressive. He wasn't scared, trying to dance around. And he ended up paying for it, but that was something that when we go back to some of our discussions last year, we begged this team to do, was be aggressive around the zone with some of these pitchers. And to see a guy like Burrows get in there and basically say, "Here it is. If you can hit it, hit it."
Right.
It paid off in many aspects during his outing, but he obviously paid for it pretty heavily in another couple of occasions there.
And I can forgive him for giving up a home run to Trout. Trout was on fire.
Yeah,
Trout,
guys.
you
Yeah,
know, Trout is hitting 462. He's hitting 462 with a couple of home runs,
yep.
3 RBIs, 7 walks, 3 strikeouts, which is a little bit high. But again, it's a small sample size. But
Hmm.
he's 6 for 13, and he's 7 for. That would mean he's 13 for 20 OP with on base percentage. So he's hitting. You got a
Yeah,
650 on base percentage. Give me a break.
yep,
I mean,
yep.
Trout was on fire, and he made, for the first time he's ever hit in a long time, he's actually hit in Dyken Park. Maybe it's because they
Yeah.
changed the name.
Who knows?
But he
uh,
crushed the Astros this in
he
this series.
did.
Just
He
killed us.
did. which, Trout's never been a guy that's been much trouble for the Astros. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
in large part, he's never really been a guy that's gotten to the Astros. Like a lot of other really big names over the years just seem to have the Astros number. Trout's never really been one of those guys that's just knocked the Astros around. So
Yeah. Of
um,
course, we had better
he got it
pitchers
this
back
time.
then too.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true as well. That's true as well.
um,
Well, after a couple of miserable and depressing games to start the season, the Astros kind of figured it out there in Game 3. At least in the second half of the game, they figured it out. First half of the game was pretty quiet. It didn't look like it were. I think I think I sent you a text and
no,
said,
I
"Here
know.
we go
No,
again," or
yeah, no. Yeah, let's call it here.
FML. This team,
Let's
good
talk. Yeah,
lord.
let's keep it G rated because
I'm pretty
your
sure
actual
that was what the
translation
actual text was.
not
It,
for all audiences.
I did in my defense, I did send the acronym, not the the actual words. But
but
the
it
first
but
half of that game, I was frustrated watching this team, and something clicked, man. Something clicked.
well again the Astro the Angels made an error. I think it was
Yep.
an error by Ohapi.
Oh, Hoppy,
And
yeah, he threw the ball around a ton.
yeah, he threw
He
the
threw the
ball
ball around
around
a
and
ton
the
last night.
Astros made him pay for it.
Hmm.
They made him pay
Hmm.
for it.
Yep. Yep.
They score,
What do you take from
they
Christian Javier's? What do you take from Christian Javier's start? 6 earned runs, allowing 8 hits, 4 and 2/3 innings, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts.
you know, he is always a higher pitch count pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to see 2 or 3 more starts from him.
Yeah.
What'd you take about him? I think I was hoping for more. They
Yeah.
won the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
His velocity has to stay up, and I think his velocity was up that game, but he walked 4 and 2/3 innings, and so
Yeah.
similar as he didn't throw as many pitches per inning as Brown did, but then again he got hurt more too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think with Javier, cut him some slack, right? Get his confidence back, get in there, get the feeling for being back on the mound again after being gone and having to come back. And, I mean, these guys are built for this for sure. But at the same time,
Here
um, yeah,
here's the question I have on Javier. Back in 22, 23, 24 before he got hurt, and before he got hurt, he had the invisible.
yep,
Okay, he
that
really didn't
rising
throw all that
fastball.
hard. He'd throw 92, 93, but he'd throw a high fastball, and for some reason it had ride on it. And so
Yeah.
guys weren't able to catch up to it. And the question, and I'm not the kind of guy who knows well enough to be able to look at a video and say, "Oh, it's got all that ride." You have to talk to the professionals. But does he still have the ride he had 3 years ago, or is it just a hit me 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and he's going to have to go to more sliders and changeups?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm not a pitching
I
analyst
don't know.
either, so
It's
I don't have I don't have any
it's
way
gonna
to really opine on that because I mean I guess according to a few things that I've read, that's kind of what's missing is that the velocity needed for his invisible thing to work still isn't quite there yet. And then again, I don't know if it's also a control thing, and maybe he's not confident in what's been patched up there yet to start really putting the rotation on the ball that's needed to make that happen.
yeah.
I don't know enough to talk about it, but it is definitely something that's missing, and it's definitely something that has been discussed that's missing. So it's not like they're not aware of it. Um, it'll be interesting to see if
We'll
that
just
is
have to
something that
see.
ends up coming back. Yeah. Yep.
We'll have to see. And today
Yep.
with Emai, I was I had to listen to that game on the radio,
Yeah.
and it's interesting to hear when you get used to hearing TK and Blum call the game, and then you get into a radio only, and you get some really deep insights on that. One thing
Yeah.
that Sparky talked about is that Imai had said in the exhibition season that one of his big adjustments was to the ball, the MLB ball,
Oh, the
and the
different ball.
MLB ball is less tacky than
Yep.
the Japanese ball. And so what they were saying was that he was not able to completely cut it loose. He does. It's like he doesn't have the grip on it to be able to cut it loose. And it showed today. He had 4
Yeah.
walks and 2 2/3 innings. Gave up 3 hits, but was all over the place. 27 pitches an inning, 28 pitches an inning, fewer strikes than he had balls. A whip of 262. You put that on top of the fact that he was probably jacked up for his first start.
Yeah, I imagine so.
And some of these guys, they actually will do better on the road because they not in front of the home fans. They're not as excited.
Right.
I think he's going to be fine. He got out of the first inning fine. As his second and third is where he was starting to really have issues, and
Yeah.
he'll figure it. He'll figure it out. I think he'll figure it out.
Yep. I agree. Bullpen usage. So especially today, right? So we had Weiss, Munoz, Ruh, and King. And then Abreu's just, I don't know. What are you seeing from Abreu? Obviously, again, pretty early. Let's not get super concerning and overreact. But we've talked about it before, how Abreu as the closer or in that closing role, just it seems to be an experiment that has not generated a ton of confidence.
Doesn't it feel like he's pressing to you because he's only in the inning and a third. He only gave up 1 hit,
Yeah.
but he threw 4 walks, gave up
Yep.
4 walks. It's like, I don't know if he's gripping his slider too tight to where he can't control it. But it's like it feels like he can't relax. He's not able to relax as a closer.
Yeah. It seems that way. He just doesn't seem comfortable and in his groove out there for
And
whatever reason. It's a
no one
mental thing.
else is comfortable
Mental
with him
thing.
too.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah. I mean, the flip side of that, I mean, we kind of saw, if you're talking about being comfortable in a specific role, I mean, we saw Ryan Presley go through the same thing when he was kind of forced to be the setup guy versus the closer. We saw him struggle in that role too. So, I guess there's a lot more to the mental aspect of the game than I think a lot of fans give the players credit for when it comes to something like that, being asked to do something that, you're not used to doing a ton, and you get your mind and your muscle memory and all that stuff. You find your groove, and then you're asked to kind of change it up a little bit. So I don't fault him a ton. I think that he's got the natural talent, and feel as though if he can embrace it and get out there and with some confidence um and be Brian Abreu, we'll be okay. Brian King looks good having to go in and kind of save it.
Yeah.
He
And
got
Joe
his
didn't wait long. He get
nope. He
1
didn't
walk,
wait
fly
long.
out to left, 1 more
Yep.
walk, said, "You're out of here,
Yep.
dude. We're
Yep.
not
Let's
giving this
go.
one back up."
Gonna bring Brian in. Yeah.
Hey, somebody
Yeah.
we didn't mention, but I think it was KY Tang.
Yes.
Through 2 1/3 that, he was the one that shut the door, turned off, stopped the bleeding and let the Astros get in a position where they could come back and take the lead. So
Yeah.
give him a pat on the back.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Blue ball is looking pretty good outside of the home run to Trout on opening night.
He gave up a run in 4 1/3. Okay.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah,
He's doing what
he gave
we're
up
asking
a
him to
run.
do.
He's pitched well, and he's the kind of guy that if that you feel you could slide into the starting rotation and feel pretty happy.
Yeah. Yep. I guess in the last bit of pitcher news, Christian Roa was optioned or will be optioned. It was reported that he was packing his bags after the game tonight. So 3 1/3 innings, 5 strikeouts. The kid did some good while he was up. He'll go down and probably be up again in 15 days.
Yeah, we'll just see how he does. He's probably going to be on the shuttle.
Yeah,
Um,
he'll on the short list of back and forth guys.
yeah,
Let's talk a little bit about the offense.
yeah.
Today Christian Walker had a good game. Paredes, as expected. Christian Vazquez, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Getting the start over the cold Yainer Diaz start to the season.
I you know
Jake Myers had a little bit of a show me game last night. 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs, 2 runs, and that stolen base. There's a couple of standout guys. Yainer or Jordan had his home run on let's see, on Friday night. Correa went 2 for 3 with a walk. I don't think that there's a whole lot outside of really being quiet those first 2 games. I guess they woke up. I mean, they carried yesterday's production over into today's game.
yeah.
Kind of did a lot of the same stuff.
Here's a few things that I saw. You had Low Profito hit 333, and he's had a couple of doubles.
Mhm.
Jordan was pitched around all series and still hit 308, and he took 5 walks.
Yep.
Okay. Walker hit 308, took 3 walks. And one of the things that they brought up on the radio broadcast today was that when Walker hit that ball to right field is something that Dana Brown had been saying that they really wanted Walker to do. They didn't come out and say it, but I think Walker got too pull happy last year. It seemed like Walker put so much pressure on himself last year.
Mhm, mhm.
And when you're hitting the ball to right field, you've got to relax. You've got to go with that pitch. And that was a big hit today. The guys, it's early, but, guys to be concerned about Cam Smith.
Mm.
He's been giving up every opportunity, and he's hitting 077 for the season. It's 4 games. Again, you don't want to get too wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Vasquez got on 3 times today, and who knows?
Yeah.
I think Yainer has more tools at this age than Vasquez, but
Yep.
Vasquez is going to make Yainer earn his playing time.
Well, and I think that's what when we all heard that Christian got chosen to come up versus Salazar, one, the veteran presence of having Christian Vasquez coaching Yainer and working with him and being up there to work with the pitching staff as well. But I think that this was another one of those things that even though we know that Vasquez has had a rough couple of years, this is still, like you just said, this is a little bit of pressure on Yainer to perform and to get it done because in these first 4 games, the kid, I guess the 3 games, the kid's he's still swinging at those outside breaking balls like nothing, man. Like he's holding a tennis racket trying to grab one, headed out across the line. That's still concerning to see him doing the same thing that he had been
Yeah.
doing last season in these first handful of games. It doesn't look like he really addressed any of that in the offseason.
No, Yainer, we've talked about for you and I for 3 years now, for 3rd season
Hmm.
now, that when Yainer controls the strike zone, he's deadly. He's so strong
Yep.
when the ball
Yep.
jumps off his bat when he hits it. He he just gets up there and swings.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. I mean,
Yep.
he's used the old Joaquin Andahar school of hitting. It says swing hard in case you hit it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joaquin was great.
Well, I mean, and the
Um,
thing, and the thing, and the thing is that the other teams are they're just going to keep picking at it.
would you give him a strike?
Uh, no, hell
I'd throw
no,
him breaking balls
hell
I'd throw
no,
him breaking
all
balls
day
that
long.
started
Well, I mean,
Throw him breaking balls and start at the
it's
outside
what
corner, run
teams,
away, and know he's going to swing that.
yeah, it's what teams did to Jeremy Pena until he figured it out and started
Yep.
taking all those walks. Everybody kept throwing him low outside stuff. He would stretch
He's,
for it,
yeah.
he'd reach for it, he'd try to poke it, and then and they finally smacked him around and said, "Hey, quit!" and he stopped, and and he started getting
And
on
he got
base.
pretty
And
good.
so, yeah, he got pretty good. I mean, golly, I mean, Yainer, like you said, talent is insane, but he's got to stay off of those breaking balls away. He's got to.
Yeah, he
Got
absolutely
to.
does. I mean, you look at a guy like Yainer, he's got 1,500 at bats in the major leagues now, just over 1,500 now. He's 27 years old. You
Yeah.
know, there can be some argument about how many at bats, plate appearances it takes to get a book on a player, but
Yep.
at 1,500, most people will tell you, almost all people will tell you, at 1,500 at bats, you've got a book. You
Yep.
kind of you see more or less what this player is going to be.
Yep.
I get the feeling with them bringing in Vasquez and not keeping Salazar, as they're starting to run out of patience with him.
Yeah. It seems so. It seems so. All right.
But
Well,
let's
let's
see what
you want to look ahead to the Red Sox?
yeah, let's see if there's anything else back on the hitters, if there's anything we need to get. I think that's it. Altuve walked 5 times.
Yeah.
Jordan walked
Yep.
5 times. You know, they took their walks and they they took what was given to them. You know, the concerns I have, we've talked about the concerns, the strikeouts are the concerns, the individual players are the concerns, but at the same time, we don't want to get too wrapped around the axle because it's 4 games.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I guess if there was one standout positive point, is for me at least, it is the Astros taking the walks.
Yep.
This was something we talked about last year a lot, that they needed to take the walks. They needed to quit just swinging at everything and hoping to, make contact. So far in these first 4 games, it appears as though they are willing to take they're willing to take more walks, and I'm okay with that.
Yep. I'm good with it too.
Good deal. Well, looking ahead, let's see. We've got the Boston Red Sox. The Sox coming in tomorrow. Man, these guys are practically a strikeout factory right now. So it will be interesting to see how McCullers et al. Will attack this Red Sox team. And I think that Lance McCullers could not ask for a better opportunity to start against somebody outside of the Red Sox right now. I think this might be a nice little welcome back
Yeah,
home.
they're
Um,
averaging about 7 strikeouts, striking out 7 times a game.
yeah. Yep.
The
Yep.
when McCullers, and we've said it once, we've said it a million times. Tell me what McCullers' velo is going to be, and I can tell you how he's going to pitch. Last year, when he was pitching at 89 to 91,
Yep.
it had hit me written all over him because he needs that velo to be able to set up his breaking pitch. He's got to have
That's a huge point because the Red Sox currently have a 31.9 strikeout rate against right-handed power pitchers. That velocity over 94 miles per hour. So far, at least, again, don't read too much into it. It's only a couple of games here, but so far that has been the Achilles heel of the Red Sox against the Cincinnati Reds. So if the Astros can, do some pretty good little scouting there and take a look at some of that kind of stuff, I think that we have an opportunity there for Lance McCullers and Hunter Brown, and this could be a good series for the Astros.
Yeah, you've got 2 games where each team feels that they should have the advantage. In Tuesday's game, we've got Brown against Bayo. You would think the Astros feel they've got an advantage with Brown over Bayo. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, it's Burrows against Crochet, and if I'm the Red Sox, I'd say you throw anybody, including Tarek Skubal, out there, and we think we've got a chance to beat you with Crochet.
Yeah.
The rubber game of the series could be Monday night because you've got McCullers going against Ranger Suarez. Ranger
Yeah.
Suarez is was a big money sign for the Red Sox this year. He did well with Philly, but he's not Christopher Sanchez either.
Right.
And there's a
Yep.
reason that the Phillies let Suarez go rather than signing him to the big contract and then sign the big contract to Ranger Suarez to Christopher Sanchez. So
Yep.
you know, also this game, and again, we don't want to read in too much into these early games, but this also can give the Astros fans kind of a look into what the team's going to be and how they handled games like Monday night.
Yeah.
These are the ones, if you're going to be good, you'll win. You'll figure out a way to win that game.
Yep. Yep. I mean, the benefit, man, they've got a lineup full of lefties. That's a big part of the
Yeah.
problem. They have 5 left-handed or switch hitters: Abreu, Anthony, Yoshida, Duran, and Mayer. All lefty or switch hitters could play into the hands of the Astros there,
Yeah.
especially McCullers with his curveball.
Yeah. And they've got, it's Narvaez, Will Abreu starting off has had a nice start to this season.
Yeah,
Roman
sure
Anthony's
has.
had a nice start to the season. He's hitting 308.
Mhm.
Marcelo Myers hitting 333, but there's a whole bunch of people on that team that are hitting 200 and below.
Yep.
Story's not hitting yet.
Yep.
Raphael is hitting 200. I take that back. Raphael is hitting 300, but Duran's hitting 200. You've got a bunch of people that play a lot. Caleb Durbin's still looking for his first hit.
Mhm.
You can either say they're not very good or they're due. Again, it's
Yep.
just too early to say.
Yep.
But
Yep. They're missing Rafael Devers. That's for sure.
they are.
That's for sure. So one thing that we talked about before we hit record, before we hit live, was that this could be an early test for the Astros pitchers and defense as it goes to the walks really ending up truly hurting you, because
Right.
this team's got some young, quick, they've got some speed, and you put too many of those guys on base, they're probably going to try to make you pay for it.
If they walk 7 guys a game, they'll lose all 3 games.
Yep.
That's just
Agreed.
the Red Sox. We talked earlier about it. Part of the reason is that the Astros were able to split this series is the Angels aren't very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
If
Yep.
a good team,
they had their defensive woes. So yeah,
a good team will make the Astros pay for 7 walks a game.
yep.
And it'll be
Absolutely.
ugly.
Absolutely. You want to project how the series goes?
I think it's going to be 2 out of 3 either way. Again, tell me what happens tomorrow night. I'll say McCullers pitches a good game and they win 2 out of 3.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I can see the Astros pulling 2 out of 3. A little bit of home field advantage. Got a little bit of the nervous shakes out of him. Might be coming out of this Angels series, especially these last 2 games, with a good bit of confidence.
Yeah.
And I could see them. I could see them using that going into this series with the Red Sox for sure.
I agree. And of course, like we said, to give it an idea of where we are with the standings, no one's run off so far. The Mariners look like they're going to win tonight, and so they'll be. I think they did win. It's 2. They and the Astros and the Angels are 2-2. The Rangers at 2-1. The Athletics are they lost 3 in a row to who'd they lose? Oh, lost 3 in a row to Toronto. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Well,
yep. Looks like the Rangers beat Philly.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. Phillies.
Yeah, nothing else.
We talked
Nothing
about
else
this
in here
earlier.
really
Phillies.
surprising.
Philly's a team that I look at to have a tough season.
I think so too. Yeah.
What we will do is we'll
too.
catch everybody after the series on Wednesday, Thursday.
We sure will. We sure will. Any final thoughts, my man?
No, just happy we came away with a split. Hopefully hopefully things get better on the pitching cleanliness, and we'll just pick them up.
Let's do it. All right. Well, that's a wrap here. Another episode of Dirt Diamond Sports Talk. I'm Ryan. That's Wally.
Wally.
Go Stros.
Go Stros.